And we're live.
Totally. What's
How
going
are
on?
you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Girl, it's been a day, but I am excited and we're live. So, oh man, this is the year-end finale.
It is, and I'm really excited for what we have
By
planned
the
for.
way, first person that came on today was Malik.
Hey, what's up, Malik? That's a new name. That's a new cousin. What's up, cousin?
I know, right? It was good.
Okay, did you share?
Did I share this episode?
Yeah, did you share all the links?
Uh, as usual, yes.
Yes. It you do it way too fast. Hold on.
Well,
I,
you know how
like,
we do. We run the full-scale tech over here, so
whatever.
Wait, hold up. Time out. You got a Kanara behind you. You got all this stuff going on. You got all this wonderful art, this beautiful
Mhm.
book. You even gotta like take
Yes.
two. I
It's
forget what I think it's called, but
I call it a clapper. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I call it a clapper.
I'm sure it's something. But
Let me know.
ultimately,
Put in the comments if you know what it is.
where are you? Like, where are you, Jolene? Because clearly this is not the typical setup.
It's not. It's not. This is a special episode, y'all. A very special episode, and um, let me just say, one Habarigani.
What's the news?
Let me tell you. First of all, I always forget. I do. I need to say my name. I'm so rusty because we've been on vacation. So anyway, this is Jolene GC in the place to be. Okay, I just have to say that.
And I'm Mark Monroe.
We're back, y'all. Well, for now. I do
No,
have an announcement later, but look, today is really, really special. We're celebrating Kwanzaa today. And we are coming, or I'm coming to you live from the Union in downtown Seattle, Washington. The Union is a very special place to me as I am so blessed and so honored to be a co founding member. And the Union now is a full on media production empire. Okay. I wish I could show you guys behind the scenes so that you can see like all the cameras, all the equipment, all the tech. Like it is amazing here. And the Come Up series, as well as PACE, which stands for Pan African Centered Empowerment, is we partnered together to bring this whole day of Kwanzaa called cooperative economics. That's Ujama. So this is one of my favorite days. Like Mark, you remember you thought creativity was my favorite day, but
I did. I was like stunned. I was like, oh wow, this is crazy.
yeah, but actually it's Ujama. And it's because I am really big about, well, one, I really dig wealth building, but there is also something about how we're doing it, like with all the come up cousins. That is my jam, y'all. Like I just love it. So this actually is my favorite day. I think the second runner up would probably be self determination, but
Well,
it's
it's pretty funny because you and I share that we kind of share that. Like I think my favorite day is I think Nia purpose.
definitely.
So interesting.
Well, let me just share a little bit more about cooperative economics, also
Okay.
known as JAMA. It's to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses to profit for them together. So that is really powerful. Just think about what we're going to be able to do a year from now, Mark. Like,
Girl, yo, I've been in the matrix. So I mean, for me, it's an amazing thing because of the fact that when we stepped out into this forum, it I think that this project of the Come Up series is an embodiment of really all those seven principles. But really, when you bring myself and you together to build this platform, I mean, Ujama.
oh, JAMA all day, right?
Like, look what we built. I mean, even, some of the, even the 7 nonprofits in which that we,
No, let's get into it. So you all know that as part of initiative of the Come Up series, we have Come Up communities. And with that, we have selected 7 different organizations that are the beneficiary of your Super Chat dollars. Those Super Chat dollars are then put into a burner account, and we maximize those. We maximize your Super Chat dollars to benefit and sustain, or help to sustain rather, these 7 organizations. So Mark and I are going to do a little call and response to give you like a preview of just how aligned all the Kwanzaa principles are with the Come Up series, and just our vision and how we chose these organizations. The funny thing is, I think this was subconscious. We didn't set out and look at the principles and say, okay, this organization works with this. But Mark is all about riddles and all that. So get ready. Okay, so Mark, I'm gonna call out the organization, and then you call out the Kwanzaa principle, okay?
Okay.
All right. First organization is Life Enrichment Group.
So Life Enrichment Group, I think that would definitely speak on behalf of self-determination. Or wait, Life Enrichment Group, that's the one with the
Young Kings and Queens Project.
That is not it. That is definitely creativity.
Okay. Greenwood Project.
Oh, that's definitely cooperative economics, Ujama.
Okay. The Bridge Eco Village.
Oh wait, I totally messed that up. Collective work and responsibility is the Greenwood Project is Ujima, and then Ujama is the Bridge Project.
Okay, what about the People School for Positive Education?
Oh, girl, you already know. That's for positive education, so that's definitely NIA purpose.
Okay, we might have to switch though. Let's see. The Black Mental Health Alliance.
That is on the focus. So Black mental health focus. I can see where you're trying to change that. So we would put NIA under purpose for Black Mental Health Alliance, and then the original one we'll put that under Umoja Unity.
Okay. We might change that one too. Operation Reach Back.
Man, like they represent all 7 principles, so it's kind of hard. It's really hard. Okay, so Operation Reachback, I would say Kuji Chagalia, self-determination.
Okay, and then Live to See Cancer Cured.
That's definitely Imani Faith.
Okay.
Hands down, Faith.
All right, I like what you did there.
Okay.
So, let's get into what happened in this market today.
Okay.
So we had a full-on red day.
It was wild because we went from green. I mean, it was like playing with, it was kind of playing with those colors across the candle because we saw.
I'm saying it was red, y'all. It was red today. The Dow was red at negative 68.30 points. S&P 500 was down negative 8.32 points. And the NASDAQ was down negative 49.20 points. Mm-hmm. Then we talk about sector performance. You all know there are 11 sectors. We track the top 3 and track the bottom 3. So for the top 3, we have health, consumer discretionary, and utilities. Out of the top 3, only health was in the green today.
Positive, yeah.
Yeah, everything else was red. And then for the bottom 3, we got energy, industrials, and real estate. So tech was somewhere floating, lost in the sauce. It just was.
I'm cool with tech playing flat. I'm okay with that. Like I would be somewhat flat versus like all the way on the downside. So I'm here for it.
Okay, I can see that. Now for our pick performance, y'all, you know that we have 31 sips. Wait, do you ever watermark?
Girl, come on.
Okay, making sure.
You already know.
All right. Okay. So we have 31 sips. Those are the 31 picks for the Come Up series. And you can find those on our Instagram at that Come Up series. And for the top 3, we have Neo, K-Web, and Netflix. And then for the bottom 3, we have ARK K10, which is a solar ETF, and Square. Now,
it's funny, all the innovative company, I'm gonna leave that alone. That's a whole other.
That is a whole nother other. However, we did have 2 52-week highs. So that was Booking Holdings and Disney.
Hmm.
So shout out to Ileana. That's her company, Disney.
I can already sense the video message.
You know what's coming. You know she's gonna send you a shady video message like, "Oh, did you happen
Just
to
make
see?"
sure she wears the shades.
She may have her bonnet on. It may be nighttime. Okay. Anyway, so Mark, let's talk about what happened. One of the biggest things we need to talk about is, the drama with the stimulus show.
Okay. So should we take on this? Should we get past this world of stimulus?
Yes, please.
So we've been hearing rumblings that's been taking place over in DC about will the president sign or will he not? And then on top of that, I feel like it's getting a little bit too late to really patch up the Band-Aid. And I think that where we're at, I think that we should have came with a larger stimulus. I mean, I'll never get to see it, but I mean, I think definitely the rest of the world or the rest of the United States definitely needs it because there's a lot of folks out there that are really just struggling to make it. And so I think that honestly that they should have came first with the 2000 to really help stimulate the economy, especially going into the holiday season. I don't know why they stalled, but they finally passed the bill. And after the whole dramatics of, make it about myself, we finally passed it. And now it's a matter of like, okay, I think what Wall Street is kind of like they were already expecting that it was going to pass. Now there's rumblings about a $2,000 stimulus that was also in the process. The House had they unanimously passed it. I think that it also has a significant majority of support, except for Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has blocked it. I don't know why. I think that he's maybe stopping it from expediting, possibly waiting for, possibly this election. So which ties in a little bit of market uncertainty. And then on top of that, you have folks in which that are saying, well, why don't we wait until we find out exactly who's going to be the senators of Georgia? Because we have that runoff. I think that takes place on January 5th.
Yep.
So, there's just a lot of, there's not that many moving parts, but I think people are like literally just making it overhyped and oversense of what it really should be. And it's kind of sad because we should be at this point where it's just more so it's about the American people and which that definitely need this stimulus. So it's a Band-Aid for the $600 stimulus. I think that's what's going out. And I think that I just really hope that it doesn't really have strong impacts, especially when we think about, folks in which that could be potentially evicted from their places, those types of things, hoping that the legislation has essentially, really starts to pick up steam and really like says, okay, hey, we really need to get to work. And I think with that, I think that the markets, I think that we could possibly see going into the very few last days of the year, we'll probably see that the market will probably trade sideways, given that there's still some uncertainty out there.
Yo, I just, I honestly, I feel like it's disrespectful to call it a stimulus because it's not going to be used to stimulate anything really. People need that to eat and for basic needs, So
Yes.
like the fact that they're calling it a stimulus almost makes it seem like, oh, here's a little handout or whatever. And it's like, first of all, this is taxpayer money, number one. Number two, had the virus been contained, we wouldn't necessarily be in this predicament. And so it's more like, I just wish that Congress could adopt these Kwanzaa principles, like for real, and really be for the people instead of just being for themselves. Like the greed just blows me. Like I just cannot. But I don't want to like dwell on politics, y'all. But we definitely had to speak on that.
You already know I had that one episode that I had to talk about the politics. Never ever shall I do that again.
Yeah. So, we've been in the Matrix. We've been on a low-key vacation.
Yes.
And now that we're back, I mean, what were the things that you were thinking about as it pertains to like the Come Up series, the Come Up Cousins, and these upcoming trading plans?
Oh man. It's kind of interesting because when I look at it, it's just like my focus going into 2021 is how is it that I can help folks develop wealth faster, but also at the same token, be strategic and also, of course, manage risk. but how is it that we can help in doing things even better? Of course, with the Come Up Cousins, they're assembling and creating mentorship. And for me, like I said, for the first time ever, um, this was like, normally I step into the matrix every year by myself.
Wait, can you say what the matrix is for those that don't know? Sips water.
So for me, the matrix is where I literally take the last final weeks of the year, which is December. And while I'm like pretty much closing down, you know, a lot of books and everything else, but at the same token, I'm strategizing going into the next year. And a lot of times I like to think 3 to 5 years out. So I'm literally strategizing not only just about what was and talking about that as it pertains to how it will help me next year, and developing trading strategies for what positions am I going to be going for, what companies I suspect that will be hot going through 2021. But I'm also looking at what will be as it pertains to the future. And that's typically how I trade. I typically trade with the focus of that each and every single company that I'm investing in has a strategy that's literally playing out now, that's literally building towards the 2021s or say, for example, the 2100s or the year 4000. And they play an intricate part in that. And that's honestly what I do. I literally, like, it's literally me, some expo markers, and the windows, which my wife hates it when I write all over the windows. And it's literally just me and my thoughts. And, you know, many times it gets a little crazy up in here. And so for the first time ever, I unveiled that with everybody, like with a set few of folks, because I felt like they will be, you know, especially going into next year, many of them are stepping forward to be leaders and helping mentor other folks and leading the pack, and also, you know, being able to be there when sometimes I'm not able to, where they can be those support beacons of light, even though it's like, honestly, I'm still paving, you know, the road ahead. So, you know, for us, it's been more so in the sense of going through exercises of, you know, literally getting folks to also switch their mindsets of thinking outside of no longer thinking like an institute or a retail trader or a retail investor, but more so focusing and thinking like an institutional investor or institutional trader, and essentially putting yourself in a place where, you know, people don't have a reason where it's like you can't be a millionaire in 4 years. I just don't see it, especially if you have the respectful capital in order to get going. There should be nothing that should be able to stop you from either becoming a millionaire or essentially being on that road to essentially developing that generational wealth or that wealth, so that way you can build, so that way you don't have to worry about a W-2 or whatever it is. You can build that freedom for yourself and your family. So my thing is like, how is it that we can do this better? And I realize, like, okay, hey, now it's time for me to instill this knowledge and also give these exercises over, you know, of course, I can't give everything because, of course, I don't want to give everybody brain overload. But how is it that we can do it better? And I just realized I couldn't do it by myself. So I ultimately had to unlock those doors and, you know, say, hey, everybody, come on in.
Is that cooperative economics, Mark?
It is. It is. It is 100%. Because of the fact that, you know, in order to get to this future, nobody will get there by themselves. You have to do it together. And I always look at it like this. It's like, you know, we've said it before. Your reparations is out there in the market, you know. But instead of, you know, but my grandfather, God bless his soul, Louis Saint Cyr, you know, celebrated his birthday this month as well. You know, kind of like hit it on the head a while back by saying, if they gave us reparations, what good would it be if we didn't have the mindset to ultimately be able to create, you know, economic prosperity and wealth within our communities and amongst within our culture? And that really like has always sat with me in the sense of, how is it that we can do things better? Mm-hmm. So moving forward, it's like, you know, my mantra going into 2021 and beyond is really just the mantra of just be legendary. You know, I don't care. Like, you know, at this point, it's just the legend. What I want from my kids or my great grandchildren or my grandchildren to know about me is the fact that it wasn't what was in our bank accounts. It was more so in the sense of what we did for the people. Yeah. You know, and understanding that we can build things. We can do that.
not only just things, but we can build ourselves up. Like we
Correct.
can control our narrative, as a people and as a culture. I think that's really important. And while you're unveiling, what your mantra is for a 2021, y'all know that the GC and Jolene GC stands for Gathering Cousins, right? That's 2020 vibes. Y'all have been gathered. Now you can do the gathering. So for 2021, the GC in my name stands for Galactic Catalyst.
Hey.
I'm out here, okay? I'm out here, and I'm thinking big, I'm dreaming big, I'm doing big, I'm being big, just big, 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 all day, all night, 24/7, 365 or 366, depending on what year it is.
Rain, sleet, hail, or snow.
That's right. Throw the weather in there. Okay. Climate change, no matter what. And to me, I'm still working on like what that means. But as I'm thinking about what that means, it definitely involves cooperative economics. That's a big part of being a galactic catalyst, one who is like outside of this world, and is the one or is part of some ones who bring about epic proportion as it relates to change and what we're going to be on. So the galactic catalyst, that applies to my capacity to love. Like as I think about how much I love our people, like that increases these portfolios. Increase. Galactic, okay?
What's good?
It's all galactic out here, okay? Trades, galactic, okay?
By the way, can I just say I like your Afro-futuristic outfit that you got going on here.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about it right quick. This is a side note because some of y'all know, like I was watching Jingle Jingle with my stylist. Shout out to Felicia Morgan, owner of Impeccable Artistry. You can find her on Instagram. If you ever come into Seattle and you need your hair done, but usually she's booked, so you got to plan in advance. But we're watching Jingle Jingle and all of the baubles and the coils and all that stuff that were in the hairstyles was just amazing. And so as I didn't know this was happening, like I'm watching the show. I don't have my glasses on, y'all. I can't see without my glasses. So I'm just sitting in the chair, chilling, minding my own business. And then she hands me the mirror and I see like all of the things. This is my favorite piece show. You see how I got it to the side, little show right there. She did a good job, right? So yeah, this is just, I'm serving very much a little jingle, a little jangle, a little razzle dazzle or whatever, so I had to throw that in there. Okay, sidebar complete. I just, thank you. You know how I feel about my hair, y'all. My hair is like my creative expression outlet. So yes.
The coolest thing ever though is that, when we think about it, it kind of like just brings me back, like today is more so reflectionary, like, especially like when we think about like, wow, this has just been year one.
Like, and not just a full year though, Mark.
I know, like, what was that, like 8 months, 9 months?
I think it was about 8 months.
Lord. Mm-hmm. I mean, just to think about it, like, can I just roll back the sands of time real quick?
Music, but I'll go like this.
I mean, think about it from this, like from when we started on Facebook and we just like, we had the most jankiest setup.
It was janky, y'all. Find that first episode. It's
it's on the come up. I think it's on the come up series, like Facebook page. We keep it there just for like, just remember where we come from.
Wasn't I on iPad or something?
Yeah, I had you talking through the iPad to everybody on my MacBook screen. It was a whole lot of. Yeah. So then if we think about it, like then going to like, the episode on EYL, and then on top of that, like, me throwing stuff in the super chats, and then here we are today as it pertains to, then we got to July, or was it June? Our first episode. So July, our first episode on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And, wow, like it started off where, next thing you know, everybody's asking us for like, you know, trades and everything else. Like, what's that? What's a trade that I should get involved in? To now, like, the conversations have completely shifted. You know, people starting to see like the buildups in their portfolios. Then they're starting to learn the lingo. They're starting to learn the knowledge. I mean, then each and every single one of you, like, literally just started having different types of discussions. The Come Up Cousins was formed on Facebook, because the Come Up Cousins came after we were on YouTube. And then from there, it was like that community was born. And, you know, like, just think about the young leaders that started to, you know, ascend in the process in learning from the Come Up series, along from other folks. Like, for example, shout out to Terry, shout out to Ian, shout out to Trap, you know, and even shout out to EYL. All those folks in whom which that like literally kind of like set the stage for us to come along. And then boom, here we are. Like, just think about all the knowledge. Like, just think about like the change in the conversation. Just think about like the kids that are watching the Come Up series now that are actually learning. Think about like the school for next year. Yeah. And with that, you know, honestly, like, it's just mind-blowing just to say that, honestly, the Come Up series wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for each and every single one of you that just made the decision just to tune in and say, you know what, let me see what these two talking about.
Yeah, thanks for rocking with us, y'all. Like, what are we? We're over 35,000 strong.
We did that. Like not Jolyn and I, but we cooperatively.
Yes.
We did that. Like, you know, some of you, like, I mean, just think about it. Like, within this year alone, we've had folks pay off student loans. We've had folks in a position where they're able to walk away from, you know, their jobs, and to have more freedom. We've had folks, for the first time in their lifetime, literally start to think about their lives differently, outside of just thinking like, okay, hey, I go to work, I come home, I go to work, I come home. There's got to be something more to life than just that. I mean, each and every single one of you did that. So, like, I don't take anything away from anybody. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank each and every single one of you. Because honestly, this movement wouldn't be anything without any of you. I'm sorry, Jolene, go ahead.
No, don't apologize. No need to apologize. But I echo that sentiment, Mark. Like, seriously, this has been a journey. And I like to think about it like, y'all know Harriet Tubman is my girl. That is my ancestor of choice. Ooh. I love her. I love her spirit. I love what she did for us, and her vision and her fearlessness. And for wealth generation, it takes fearlessness. I always say, you know, get in where you fit in. And it's like, if there's not space for you, make space. Okay. Yeah. Make space. And I like to think that all of us together at the Come Up series have made space for people that look like us to be in this market, and to be synonymous with millionaires, synonymous with billionaires, synonymous with impact, synonymous with vision, all these things that we already know that we are, you know, we're beyond creative. And to know that the Come Up Cousins, y'all know what you mean to me. Oh my gosh. Y'all know what you mean to me. And I'm also really excited for the Come Up Cousins that were in the Matrix with us, because I will be releasing all of their Instagrams, and y'all will be, I'll be redirecting questions.
Yo, flag their DMs.
Y'all, we love you. We love you. Mark and I are going to be working on taking the Come Up series to the next level. So it is imperative that, you know, as we grow, who you can turn to for questions also grows. And I'm so thankful for each and every one of the Come Up Cousins that were in the Matrix, that are leaders in their own right, and have their own style of investing and teaching. And they're all amazing. So that's really, really dope. And we're not going to get into everything that we have going on for 2021. That's for another episode. Y'all.
Why? That's a whole episode
Ooh,
within itself.
it really is. Ooh, oh my goodness. Let me do it though, because I'm just thinking, I just had a thought about some of the things that we've discussed about like the future of the come up series. And y'all, if you thought these 8 months in 2020 were lit, yo, Mark, let's take a sip. Let's just take a sip because hold on, let me get mine. Mm, mm, mm. Y'all, I hope you're ready.
Yo,
I hope you're ready.
somebody once said it's like if I'm asleep, I don't want to wake up. Yo, I'm snoring right now.
Dreaming hard, drooling all over the place.
Whatever it is, it's like, it's like for me, I dreamed a dream that, of a world in which that people like you and I, Jolene,
Mhm.
didn't have to worry about, hey, they know when their next paycheck coming. They didn't have to worry about, hey, is the future for my children and my spouse, is there security there?
Mm.
Sorry, the San Pellegrino, the bubbly. It always takes me back to that humbling moment of, that first ever family,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like, mommy and daddy don't have coloring book money. To now, mom and dad tell you, you can be whatever you want to be, and we got you, we support you.
Yes.
Like, just within a small amount of time, and it's so funny, this is gonna be a rarity. But even earlier this year, Jolene, I gotta come clean on something. I too was thinking too small. Like as big as I think, I get shivers when I think.
Go ahead and confess. Tell the truth.
But I thought about it in a sense of just, the more people who heard the message, the more that they can do something with it. But then when we started seeing exactly like, it's not just about hearing the message. It's about putting this message into action, which formulates a movement in which that honestly, for me, I've always believed that this movement is bigger than myself and Jolene. That's always been our belief. And it still is. But I think that the part in where I was thinking too small was where it was just about, okay, hey, now they're able to do like, just the little things, the little things in which that, money is not something that you have to worry about anymore. And that was too small because it didn't scare me, right? Like it didn't scare me. Like you guys have heard me say this more than enough times. If your dreams don't scare you, you're thinking too small. And so then I just had to go back into a moment of reflection, and I realized that honestly, it's like, I started thinking bigger, and honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm scared.
Yay.
I'm ridiculously scared because of the fact that, imagine what happens when you have a lot of the same folks who look like us, have the knowledge like us, have the execution like us, and then also have the hearts like us. Like at that point, there is no limit. Like for the first time, I actually dreamed of something in which that there really was no limit. I think the only limit was that I had to wake up from the dream.
Okay.
But outside of that, there was no limit. There was no limit. There was no boundary as it pertains to where is it that we can go, the markets, the, other industries in which that we could touch and we can make significant impacts and show the leadership to other cultures, other communities that, hey, that we did that. So for me, it's just like, wow, like I'm excited and I'm scared for 2021 because of the fact that honestly, it's going to be like the conversations are already changing.
Yeah.
You know, like, can you remember like the first time when I met Tebow on Instagram Live?
I do. I
And
do.
then now sitting in the like now like you have somebody like him sitting in the Matrix.
It's amazing. I do need to say though, as soon as Tebow hit me up in the DMs about, he had made that Reddit
Reddit.
that essentially gave the timestamps and topics of every single video ever. And I just saw like his love for the people. And really, like, to be real, I saw myself reflected in Tebow.
Yeah.
Um, and I was just like, yo, we gotta talk to Tebow. We gotta bring him in. And, ever since Tebow legit, like, what's so crazy is that we have not met the majority of you in person, right?
Right. Like that's the crazy part.
Every day though, like every day, like Tebow, Tebow, I know you're in the chat. Tebow, you are my little brother, and you're Mark's little brother. Like, it's just, I just think about the people that this movement has brought together, and I think about, their kids. I think about just the impact, and all of the cooperative economics basically,
Yep.
and how we're going to be able to move as one with this mindset. Like you were saying, we're going to be so dangerous. Our ancestors' wildest dreams, where, could you imagine being so free that you literally just get to be yourself? Like,
Ooh,
that's it.
can I
Like,
tell you something?
yeah, go for it.
I was sitting back the other day while we were sitting in the Matrix, and I think it was the time when everybody was like going through that time of like debating like their stance on a position.
Mhm.
And I just had a flashback for a second, and I just like for some reason I just like kind of like stared into space, and then just like I just kind of like envisioned like one of our ancestors working on the field, then flash forward to going through the civil rights movement and having to go through Jim Crow, then flash forward to us, and then flashing forward to like just that moment right there where it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like now I'm like excited for what's the next thing.
It's all Afrofuturism up in here. Okay, get ready.
I'm getting ready to go cybernetic over here. So
Okay. All right. So, Mark, okay, so we've talked about pretty much where we've come from. We've
yep.
talked about like how this all happened. And granted, there are so many more layers to that, but again, we'll share that at our another special
Yes.
that deals with like the number of you. You all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
For those of you who, let me just put this on the record. Y'all did not miss out on anything if you weren't in the Matrix. I don't want anyone to feel some type of way, because this whole thing has been the Matrix, where your mind is bending, it's learning, it's adapting. We're all flowing like water. We're being water. So, I just, again, I don't want FOMO, because that's not what this is. Our style. No Cousin Left Behind. Our style.
Right.
So it's not ever going to be something that you all don't have access to as far as like the knowledge goes. So don't worry about that. Again, if you have questions, I'm going to release those participants. I'm going to just release them, and you all can talk to them, ask them questions.
Just give them till Thursday. Give them
Yeah.
till the end of like Friday.
I'm not going to release it until 2021, actually.
Okay, that's fair, because then that gives them some time to like literally like put it all into perspective.
Right, because I do have to put on the record, even though we had this alleged vacation, your girl did not get any rest. Okay, I was still working. We just weren't on the come up.
I've only taken one vacation in my entire life.
So I'm taking January 3rd to January 8th off. I will still be here for like the lives, for the Come Up Series lives, but all other meetings, all other appearances have been canceled. No, and so I'm getting my Lady of Leisure vibes on. I'll probably be in, a silk robe or a terry cloth robe the majority of the day because I need that. And for me, I know that if I don't get rest, my creativity is not there. And I want to be the best I can be.
If you have
You
your
know?
terry cloth robe, can you just sing one song for me?
Which song?
I got a robe, you got a robe.
Yo, I will still be in somewhat communication. I just won't be, it won't be as much, but I will, let y'all know I'm alive and
So should we get
check
through a little
in.
small taste test of like, what to look for in the future?
Yes, let's talk about the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about the markets, by the way. We're talking about the markets.
Mhm.
Okay, so don't be surprised when you see, say, for example, I'm just going to throw out a few spoilers alerts here. Don't be surprised
Yes.
if you see this market either trade sideways or trade negative going into the final few days of the year. Also, don't be surprised if you see within the first week we typically go for a rally. Don't be also surprised that after that rally picks up its fair share of steam, that people want to start taking profits off of the table. I mean, typically around this time, you already start to see people taking profits or executing their positions for tax purposes. But don't be surprised if it also carries over the next set of days. May potentially produce a buying opportunity for you. You never know. There's 31 sips, 31 picks. You never know. All right. So then on top of that, don't be surprised if the market decides to do a pullback after, all the hoopla of the first few weeks of trading. Don't be surprised. And then on top of that, don't be surprised, y'all, if 2021 does not operate like 2020. Now, we bring in some of these same issues from 2020 that have yet to be resolved. But at the same token, don't go into 2021 with the mindset that it's going to be like, or with the expectation that it's going to be like 2020, because it's not. It is definitely not. There are people, like, you have to think about the psychology behind a investor, especially a retail investor, or the folks who work at institutions. They want to take profit. And that is the focus. They will start to take profit. They will start to throw cold water onto areas of the market. So if you see this market dip by anywhere from 2 to 5%, that's okay. Buying opportunity. If you're
Right.
still in the market for, say, for example, your long-term positions, long-term will always win out. Now, the things that we have to look for as it pertains to catalysts for this future, I
Yes.
want you to stay focused on a few things. Though that we have some things that are changing within the political sphere, we also have some issues that are happening within the political sphere. So if you're invested into some tech companies, they may fall into scrutiny if it's an all blue wave as it pertains to all Democratic Senate, House, and also presidential executive. So we have that. But again, that's not going to be super duper heavy. I mean, honestly, these companies are still, I mean, they're built to, last, so they're going to go the distance. Also, I would say this, as you focus towards 2021, focus towards the companies in which that you expect, especially if you're in the tech space. Focus on the companies that are going to bring forth significant changes as it pertains to innovation. I always have said innovation is what separates leader from follower. So there are quite a few things that are expected that are supposed to be coming out next year that investors are really sitting on and saying, okay, hey, it's time to show what you got. So we're going to be seeing that. It's also in the sense of don't be surprised when you start to see that some industries or some folks will start to throw in like value plays and saying, hey, is value the way to go? If you're a value investor, by all means, go for it. I mean, have fun, go mad, God bless. I mean, everybody every now and then wants their dividend or whatever. So, I mean, do your thing. But at the same token, don't just jump to other sectors just because of the fact that you believe that they've been beaten up. Let them breathe a little bit. You pour a glass of wine after you made a beautiful meal. You don't just sip it immediately. You let it breathe. All right. So, and also if you have juice, I mean, you let it breathe a little bit too. Just a little side note. But then also, as we move forward, don't be surprised if sometime during the middle of the year that you also start to see that those same players that were, say, for example, high winners last year, or I guess I should say this year, they are not going to produce the same exact returns as they have this year. So when you got companies that, and I'm going to even throw even the company that sits on my hat, Tesla, do not expect them to literally produce a 700% return next year. That's just not going to happen. So it's now time that at this point in time that we need to start getting more strategic on the companies and investments in which that we're making. Why? Because if you don't, you're going to fall into a trap in which that you jump into a lot of these different companies with that type of expectation, and then next thing you know, they break your heart. Keep in mind, you had a lot of retail traders that were out there this year, but also the same token, now that this whole situation as it pertains to their economics is really starting to kick in, they may actually need that capital when it comes time for actually having to pay some bills, when it's time to actually, when the bill collector comes to collect. So, those are the things to keep in mind. Now, I also want to preface something that we talked about a little while ago when I said, hey, don't be surprised when you see that Kathy Woods, ultimately makes some moves and, shifts a few things, especially when somebody's trying to do a little hostile takeover or whatever. Well, surprise, Mark Monroe from the present is going back to Mark Monroe to the past, because that way you can check the time step. And he said that ultimately they will be just fine, and ultimately they will find a way. And what did they do? They found a way. Now, we have seen ARK take a significant dip, and I think that's, they went on a great run. Many folks are saying, when can I get into ARK? Well, I'm looking at this timepiece right here, and it says that ultimately that ARK has taken some significant dips over the past 2 days. I'd say watch a little bit of the volume if you've been looking to get into ARK. So, you may find an opportunity. It may be knocking right here on your doorstep. You never know. Pay attention. The biggest thing is have a plan going into 2021. I think that's the biggest thing. And the goal is to not focus on what was so heavily, but to focus on building on what will be from what has already happened. Oh man, I feel like I'm pastor. I feel like I'm a pastor. I feel like they didn't hear me. So,
preach.
So don't walk into 2021 investing into with the idea of what was. Focus your investment strategy on what will be, and how you focus on what will be is literally building off of what was. Let me explain. So if we have a company like, for example, if we have this tech sector that is focusing heavily into, say, for example, artificial intelligence, if we have companies like Tesla that are literally starting to take shape, form, and fashion, if we have companies like Apple that are literally starting to get into the glass space, if we have companies like Microsoft that are using their cloud infrastructure to also work with industrial infrastructure, if we have companies like Amazon that are now being approved to have drones fly over people at night, I know I just said a lot there.
I saw that article and I was like,
no. I'm just saying, smart cities are on the horizon. And with that being in perspective, just imagine if you have to even go watch a Jetsons TV show.
You can find it on YouTube.
Then do what you need to do, or just go YouTube, say, for example, like future, or future videos. Like, for example, if you could look up, maybe 2022 to year 4000, that's a pretty dope video, by the way. And check that out, because ultimately it kind of gives you a perspective. And when you start getting that type of perspective, I know your mind is going to be blown, because you're going to be like, oh my God, this could actually happen. Yes. Like, for example, I mentioned it in The Matrix today. Imagine what would happen if you had the first ever artificial intelligence judge.
That would be wild.
But would it? Just think about us moving beyond, say, for example, artificial intelligence to intelligent assistance. Mm-hmm. Now, since we've said this, now, of course, that's years down the road, but yet at the same token, now come back from that future, walk it back like we've always shown you this year, and ask yourself, what technologies should I be invested in that will build towards me getting there? It's not that complex, y'all. A lot of folks are throwing up Black Mirror in the chat, but here's the funny thing. There was an episode in Black Mirror where they had these folks like during like this talent show or whatever it was. But then, you know, and they were and the audience was nothing but screens. I wonder what year did we see that we saw like things on TV where there was folks watching, you know, events on screen, or, you know, through their Zoom calls or through their Microsoft Azure screens.
When you start to think about the future and think about, you know, what will be, it does make your investing life much easier. Uh, it gives a different perspective. That's probably one of the biggest things that I took away from the Matrix. And it's like I haven't been able to unsee certain things, which is pretty interesting. Um, but as we get close to our end time, I do want to ask you, Mark, what what do you want to say to those who have not invested yet and um, are really thinking like 2021 is going to be the year that they take that first step?
Just do it. I mean, just do it. I mean, when you think about like all the opportunity that you know that you may have missed, like, okay, move on. That time has passed. You didn't do it. Okay, don't beat yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not about like timing the market. It's about spending time in the market. So, you know, study up. If you've been doing the studying, if you've been doing the research, and now you've just been sitting on the sideline, just like, you know, kind of like in fear, you know, here's the best way to do it. If you've got children, think about it like this: the more time that you spend sitting on the sideline, you know, a wise person once said, "There's more to life than watching other people live it." And so, how we're going to get to that point is you're going to actually have to act, meaning that you're going to have to execute. You know, years later, are you going to ask yourself, why didn't I make this trade? Or why did I do this? Or are you going to be the person that says, I'm glad that I actually took the first step, and though that it was the hardest step, whether you may even experience a loss or whatever it may be, it could happen. But the fact is that you've learned in this process to go forth. I mean, that's powerful. And the thing is like you have to be willing to like literally say, okay, hey, this has got to happen. If we don't invest in things in which that are radical or risky, then honestly, it's like there is no progress. You know, seek discomfort, I would say, for every person who's been sitting on the sideline and, you know, you feel like you're comfortable. Here's the thing: you're comfortable in the temporary moment.
Mm.
But when it comes time for in the future, your future self is literally saying that, yo, this comfort that you're taking up right now is literally crippling you from your future. So, you know, really, it now is your time. It's time. Like we've given you, somebody said that we've given over 80 hours worth of free content, and we're going to continue to keep doing that. But now it's time for each and every single one of you that have not done anything. It's time for you to act. You know, if you need motivation, look to your children,
Mm.
look them deep in the eyes and literally say, okay, hey, I'm doing it for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the job in which that you're working at, that's just a stepping stone. But keep in mind, that's from the sweat of your back. This is literally just from using this thing, which is
Mm-hmm.
more powerful than anything else. Use this and just execute.
Thank you for that, because you know there's been a few I'm going to call them pre come up cousins, because they are you know, they're considering it, or they're on the brink, they're about to take that first step. And so I'm glad that you're able just to tell them like just do it. And I also want to I want to shout out the union again. Y'all, the
Yes.
union is on Instagram. You can find them at the union SEA, SEA as in Seattle, but SEA.
Can I get in?
What'd you
Can I get in?
say?
I want to be a part of the Cool Kids Club too.
And you can also find Get on Pace. That's the other organization that we are partnered with, or that's the organization we're partnered with, and the union is like the location where things are housed. So on Instagram, you can go to @GetOnPace. And also, I want to ask Jade right now. She's in the background, but I want to know, where can people find the interview? First of all, let me just say that Jade Solomon Curtis, who is one of the co-founding members of not only just the union, but also the PACE organization, uh, interviewed me. Yeah, it was a really good interview. And the interview is actually airing right after we conclude the Come Up series, but I don't know the site, so I'm hoping that Jay is listening right now. And give me the site so that I can tell everyone I'm coming. Where to go. So you heard in the background, y'all. But I definitely want to do that before we're off air.
Okay.
From the magic of TV, something has appeared in my hand. If you all go to, and Mark, can you type this in the chat? Go to Kwanzaa.
.getonpace.org.
It's Kwanzaa.getonpace.org/live.
Okay.
Yeah. So KWANZAA.getonpace.org/live.
It's already been posted.
Okay, thank you. Can you pin it?
But of course.
Thank you. So I want you all to be able to go, not only just follow those 2 Instagram handles that I gave you, also be sure to check out the interview that Jade did of me. And we had such a good time. And we just talk about a lot of different things, because Jade and I, we're both artists in, the arts community. So this interview is from a different perspective, and it's really good. It's a good interview. So I want you guys to check that out. Mark.
Yes.
In our final 4 minutes.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Oh, is this like my final benediction for 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've heard us say it throughout this year. Dream big. Go big. And then moving into 2021, you've heard our models. They're pretty fantastic. But now it comes to you. What is your vision for 2021 and beyond? What is your goals? Set them. And then don't just be a goal setter. Execute them. And here's a little trick of the trade. If you ever want to know exactly how is it that you can get there, because sometimes they seem so far away, remember exactly what we did here at the Come Up series.
Mm-hmm.
We showed you a winning trade, and then what happened? We walked it back for you to understand it. Do the same thing when it comes to your visions and your goals and your dreams. Dream big, have the vision, and then walk it back from the finish line all the way to the starting line. Just walk through time and just say, hey, I got to do this. I got to do that. It took me to get there. Success and failure, like I've always said, is traceable. So in these moments in time, where it was just a matter of there's a fork in the road, which way do you go? You don't know exactly which way it will always lead, but sometimes you just got to make the best decision. And so you have to say, okay, hey, I'm moving towards this goal. You'll later come back and say, I remember that moment where I made this decision to do this, and this happened. You've heard, other success stories from other folks, and, but now it's your time for a success story. It's your turn. So I guess to pass it on to you, go for it. Just go for it.
Yo, this was the final live of 2020 for the Come Up series. And I can't believe we made it. We made it.
I mean, we did that, yo, girl. We did that.
We did. Oh my gosh, so many hours of preparation, production meetings, group meetings, group threads, all that for the culmination, the final piece today. Yo, I am so proud. I'm proud of us. And Mark, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for stepping out. Oh, we got to do our handshake.
I know, right?
I'm proud of you for stepping out of the shadows and also just being you and making it so that we can all just, you know, get free and this cooperative economic shit.
Well, I'm proud of you because you challenged me this year to, like, you know, think differently and to, you know, honestly just, you know, realize that, you know, the value of, like, hey, that this is a community thing and we must partake in it outside of just being the content creator. So I thank you. Like, honestly, this movement wouldn't have even made it anywhere without you, Jolene. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Airhead. All right, let's sign off because it's 7 o'clock on the dot. Oh my God.
Girl, we gotta go. Until next time, I'm Mark Monroe.
And I'm Jolene GC in the place to be.
And this was your Come Up, the final episode for 2020. We'll see you in 2021. Peace.